All right, so this video we're going to talk about the arc Pentagon drawing. This is the last drawing in the warm-ups, and this is one where we are going to figure out how to make some of these tools work. Because I know I haven't gone over them all, but we'll figure it out together. So let's start looking at the largest shape we got going on here, because all of the dimensions come from and build from the outside object here, okay? So this outside object is what's giving us points to come into, and then that's going to give us points to come down, and all the dimensions derive from the outside of this part. So let's go ahead. We're going to do a 10 by 7. So we're going to jump into CAD here. First, we got to find that tool. Well, line, polyline, circle, no, it's not there. Arc, no, it's not any of those. Well, is it a rectangle? No, it's, oh, but there's the polygon. We might need that later. Well, just remember it's underneath the rectangle. Then we're going to come down here and we're going to say, ooh, these look like what I want. So let's pick the first one, center. And I'm going to sit over top of it. And what happens is you get this like tooltip. And I'm going to read it. It says center, create an ellipse using a specified center point. Creates an ellipse using a center point, the end point of the first axis and the length of the second axis. You can specify the distances by clicking a location at the desired distance or by entering a value. Okay, that all means a lot of stuff. Let's figure it out. Click on that tool. So we're going to come down here. It says specify center of ellipse on my command. Left click. And I'm going out. Well, is this going to be, say, like a radius, or is this going to be like a diameter? I don't know. I got to go back and look at the drawing. So let's just say I clicked here and I'm moving this way. I'm thinking it's center because the tool said center. So let's go this way. I'm going to put in 5. Okay, so we're going to go back here to CAD. I'm coming out. I'm going to try 5. Enter. And then, oh, look at that. So now this is growing in height, and it's telling me that it is like a radius type dimension. So let's jump back and look at this. This is 7, so from center here, half of 7 is 3.5. All right, let's try that. Coming down, we're going to do a 0.5. Enter. And that looks pretty sharp, but it could be way boogered up. So I'm going to put some dimensions on this thing. Can I actually get some dimensions to pop up? There's a 1. There's a 2. Oh, look, it's a 7. So I think I did this right. But notice, as soon as I did this, I'm starting to dimension this because I want to make sure that as I step from one to the next, I'm using all of these dimensions to drive my drawing. Now, I went through these dimensions very quickly because I was excited to see if I did this correctly. But I'm going to delete my dimensions. I'm going to do this again just so everybody sees how to get those dimensions. I grab the linear tool, mouse over the edge of the object. You should get this little teeny tiny O-snap to pop up. If it doesn't, go back to your O-snap tools. Make sure you have geometric center on and the center tool turned on. Then go back to your linear dimension tool, mouse over the edge, then come straight to the center. Sit there for a second and then slowly mouse to the right. Get the intersection O-snap to pop up, left click, and go left click, up and left click. Same thing again to grab that vertical dimension. So slowly move into its position. Click, and then drop the dimension outside. Now, let's jump back and take a look at this drawing. The next step, we got to talk about what drives the drawing. Let's talk about these dimensions. So the dimension here, I know that I got to go from this point over 2 to find this center location for this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 is a octagon. No, that's 8. So this is a hexagon. To find the center of the hexagon. And then, of course, this circle is going to be concentric with that center. So let's go play around in here first. All right, so we're going to come over to, so let's go back to CAD, and let's just get our spacing point. So we'll grab my line tool, and from this intersection point right here, I'm going to draw over 2. All right. Now, what you might have just seen me do is I grab my line tool, I mouse over the edge because I want 2 things to pop up. One, the center, because once I find the center, I can mouse away from it. Find that, it's giving me a perpendicular O-snap, but I want an O-snap. Left click and draw in 2. That is the center of where I'm going to be putting all my stuff. And now I got to go back up to underneath of that rectangle tools where I saw that polygon tool. So let's go ahead and select, oh, wait a minute, there's a tooltip. So here it says create an equilateral closed polyline. You can specify the different parameters of the polygon, including the number of sides, good, the difference between the inscribed and circumscribed options as shown. Well, now, isn't that neat? So let's play around with that. So let's grab the polygon. My command line says, enter number of sides. Well, I have 6. Enter. Specify center of polygon. Well, that's right here. I'm going to click. And then it says inscribed, circumscribed. Well, let's go with that inscribed first and see if this works. Okay? And then I'm pulling out. And it's, oh, look at that, how that grows. That must be the distance from the center out. And I want it to be here in this position, I believe. Let's go back and look at the drawing. Yeah, so I want it to be in this position. And it's giving me information from center to the edge. I'm giving you 2, so that must be 1, because math is a beautiful thing. So we're going to come this way. I'm going to type in 1 and hit enter. Well, look at that. Let's dimension it right away, because I'm excited to see if we did this correctly. Well, how about that? There it is. All right, so jumping back in here, we're looking at the circle. So here I'm telling you that you're going to do a circle at the same center point that is a diameter of 3. So this should be an easy slam dunk. We'll grab a circle, center diameter tool, find that same point at the end of that 2-inch line, and come out 3, enter. There we go. And I'm going to go right ahead and dimension that. So I'm going to grab my linear and pull down to diameter. So I'm going to put a diameter dimension on that circle just to make sure as I do this, I'm doing it correctly. I don't have to go back and do this again. All right, so jump back into the drawing. Now, as we look at this, we got to kind of see, well, what goes where next? Well, I can start working on this, but the dimensions, I don't get a dimension from this side. Most of it looks like the dimensioning is coming from this side. So here's a 2.74 for the top of this circle, which then I can find center. I think I got to start building from this side over now. So let's go from here and get a 2-inch line coming in this way, and then get this 1.5 diameter circle next. So we'll grab my line tool, find this point here. Well, I'm not getting that intersection point, so let's go to the center, mouse straight over, click, and come over to. And then I want to draw that information right here. So it's going to be a circle with a diameter of 1.5. And that's what I just drew here. All right, so now we got that. We got to look at this and figure out how do we position this and this. So I'm going to look at this drawing, and I'm going to say that the distance from center over to center here is 1 inch. And then from this line down is 2 inches. So I need to get a line from center down to over 1. So I'm going to grab my line tool. I'm going to come down to over 1. And that's where that line goes. All right, so after we locate the center point for this bottom circle, I'm going to jump back into the drawing, take a look and see that this is a diameter of 0.5. So with a diameter of 0.5 here, it's going to be the same down here. So I can start dropping that in. So I'll grab my circle tool, I'll grab my center diameter, and then go ahead and drop in a 0.5. Then I'll jump back to the drawing, and I'll see what is the distance from here up to here. Well, I came down 2, so I should be able to go from here up 4. So then I can take and I can copy this circle. I'll go from center point straight up 4, and now that's in the right position. With that set, I should now be able to continue. Now, the next thing, I'm getting spacing for these arcs. So if I were to draw a line at 2.74 from the center of the circle straight over, that's going to give me my start position for this arc. So let's go ahead and do that. Grab my line tool. I'll go center position over 2.74. And now I know the center or the start point for this arc. Knowing that start point is important, because then we can decipher the size of all of this information here. That center point is also the center point for this radius arc. So let's just work with a radius circle for now. I'll jump back into my circle tool. So I'm going to grab my radius circle tool, click and pull, and that's going to be 0.5. What that has also done is it has positioned the center of that arc and the two other arcs for me. So I have a few pieces of information here that I know now. I know the center here, I know this particular arc, and now I know that I have a radius here of 1.5. That is from center to the outside edge, and then I also know that if this has a radius of 0.5, then I can tell that 0.5 plus 1.5 is 2. So I can go ahead and draw from this line down 2. By doing that, it then gives me the center position for all of my arcs. So I can now start just drawing circles to these positions, and then my circles can be trimmed, and then when my trimming is complete, I will have the arc. So I'm going to go ahead and take and just copy this particular circle straight down to the other side. And now I'm going to start using that wild and crazy trim tool where I don't need this, I don't need this, or this, or this. And now you can start to see the object starting to take a little bit better shape as to what it is we need to finish and complete here. So I'm going to go in and start deleting things now, not trimming, so I don't need that. Here I can also trim this little niblet, get rid of that. And then I need a line to trim back to at this point. So I'm going to draw straight down and across, trim tool, clean that up, and then delete. And now I've got those two center features pulled out. Now, got a lot of extra junk over here. We'll just highlight these and delete that, clean that up, and then we'll move this nice 3 diameter up and out of the way. And now what we have is, in essence, pretty much the tidied up drawing. Going ahead to add the remaining dimensions will then let you know whether you drew this thing correctly or not. So if we jump right here into CAD, again, I could go back in and start adding some of these dimensions. The same ones that are given are really what you want to give back to me. So actually, let's delete these. We didn't need these lines anymore. I don't need this positioning line, so clean that up. And now I can start dimensioning.